Hello there. I'm Scotty, and you're not. And we are continuing TV Adaptation Week with the Flintstones. Before I continue, I just want to reissue this. I put out a video earlier, or yesterday, from when you're watching this, I suppose, when I released this video, changing a few things. So, I started this theme month, and I got to thinking, I just did like a whole month of one thing in a row, which kind of stopped me from doing a bunch of other things. So I decided I want to kind of free up. Now, I said Supernatural, and I do want to start reviewing those, although those could take a long time depending on how much I do. If I was to constantly do those, I could get them done, do one a day, maybe even more than one a day, but I could do a season at a time. I just do season 1, stop, take a break, season 2. But there's other stuff I want to do. Like I still gotta do other rankings. I was gonna start a ranking series, which I want to get to doing. And there's also, like there's Marvel rankings I want to do. There's other stuff I want to do. I don't want to get stuck doing just these things for this month. Every month needs to have a gimmick, I told myself. So, but here is the thing. I'm still going to do these theme weeks. They'll just be split up. Every first full week for the next 4 months, minus May, so in June, July, August, and September, I will be doing a theme week the first full week of each month. May doesn't count because I'm doing TV Adaptation Week. It's technically the last week of April, but I'm counting that because I don't want to have to think. I don't want to have to just. I want to have more free time to do spare loop stuff. I want to start a restart the MyGM, and I keep on pushing it back because I don't know. The Bonsai pack just dropped. I got some downloadable content stuff, but I'm still gonna get more to put in there. Surprise y'all. So, yeah. So, with that in mind, let's continue TV Adaptation Week, shall we? With the Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones. So you're probably going to hear me say this after this one more time. But I grew up with the Flintstones, of course. At Cartoon Network, airing the Flintstones. Loved it. It was on Cartoon Network that I found out that there was actually 2 different theme songs to the Flintstones, which they do sort of play in the movie. Or not the movie, no, that was on a different video. You have the Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're the modern Stone Age family, which is the most known one. But did you know that when the show first started, I think it's just the first season, they had a different theme. It was instrumental. I think it went yeah, it was different. I used to air in reruns on Cartoon Network. But yes, the Flintstones came out 1994, the movie did. And I always remember enjoying this film, and I'm rewatching it now for the first time I have in years. I did enjoy it, but there are some problems with it. I think it's a good adaptation of the show in some parts. I think the overall story is a little muddy when it comes to how it's portrayed. Like, the story here is that Fred and Barney are taking this aptitude test thing, and Fred had a bad score, so Barney switches the tests around, and Fred then gets to be the vice president of Who's It, What's It, whatever. But it's all a scheme, an embezzlement scheme by Cliff, a character who was never in the show, which I don't understand why movies have to take adaptations of TV shows and video games and insert random characters. Resident Evil did it. Mortal Kombat did it. Other TV movie adaptations do it. They have to insert characters. you have enough to play with the TV show and the video games. Why do you have to add new characters, you know? Now, I kind of get what they were doing here because, well, the TV show was just a animated prehistoric version of the Honeymooners. There wasn't really a villain per se, except for The Man Called Flintstone, which was a good movie. I'll stick to that. But yeah, it was really just like an everyday sitcom type thing. There was no real villain. They had a live action Honeymooners movie too, but I will reserve my opinions on that until I actually watch the movie. I eventually. Maybe it'll be a second TV adaptation week or do like some, I don't know. But yeah, the plot's a little muddly. And Cliff Vander Cave, played by Kyle Mclaughlin, who was a good villain in The Librarian Quest for the Spear, is just your typical money-hungry, grubby, greedy guy who is working with his secretary, Sharon Stone, played by Holly Berry. And yes, that is her character's name. Yeah. Yeah. So the story here is that Fred becomes wealthy, but he starts to get a little too pokey into what's going on. So they throw some money at him, and he becomes, big, rich, full of himself. And Barney gets fired because he scored the lowest on the aptitude test. How you like that? But here's my problem, though. Cliff's plan is to have Fred sign a bunch of stupid things without even noticing, just signing it away. One of them being a thing that fires all the people in the work thing. So why would he have to fire Barney if he's just going to have him fire all the people down there anyway? The only thing I can think of is that he wanted to test Fred to see if he would actually fire his best friend, if he would go that far. But it's never really pointed out. It's never really, I'm going to give him a test to do this. I'm going to see if he'll do it. No, it just... And another question I've had for a while since watching this is, why is there Cliff? Why wasn't it Mr. Slate? Now, Mr. Slate was never a real villain, but they could have done this differently. And it would have kind of weird the show if they did it this way, Instead of the embezzlement thing, just have it be where they switch the tests, which could have happened on the show. Fred gets rich, he gets too over his head, things don't go his way, and, you could have the Sharon Stone pun, you have Mr. Slate, you have the whole thing, you just don't have the embezzlement thing. And you wouldn't really have a showdown at the end of the quarry, but, and I get maybe Mr. Slate wouldn't be, but instead of, you could have Cliff be Mr. Slate's assistant who was crooked and is jealous because Flintstone got the job he wanted. So he frames Flintstone for this stuff. But you could have because I feel like Mr. Slate, who was a big part of the series, isn't that much of a big part of the movie. He should have been in more. He's at the beginning, like a meeting in the middle, and then in the end. And he doesn't really do much. Except for another pun with stuff that is named after his daughter, Concretia. I don't think the Flintstones invented concrete. And it's weird because I maybe it was the Mandela effect. I always thought it was tar. I don't know why. But, yeah. So, the whole plot kind of falls apart when Wilma and Betty, who have reconciled at this point because Fred got too on his high horse and he fired Barney, but the rebels end up living with them, and also they adopt Bam Bam, whose name is Bam Bam when they get him, which I don't know. I also think that maybe Bam Bam and Pebbles were a little too old. They looked like they were about, I don't know, 8 years old. Should have been at least 5. Pebbles could talk, and Pebbles couldn't talk in the show until she was older. I don't know. I guess casting older actors is, I don't know, older kid actors. At least they didn't try to say, hey, they're teenagers and cast 25-year-olds. You know what I mean? But I digress. So yeah, Barney ends up having to find other jobs. One is which is the restaurant they go to. They get real rich, and they buy a lot of fancy stuff, including a TV. Which how does that work? They have no electricity. They also have lamps too. I don't know. There's no electricity, but I don't know. Eventually, they have enough to go off on each other, and Barney and Betty and Bam Bam leave. And then Wilma leaves after destroying everything, including the TV, which was never explained how it works, but okay. And she goes to live with her mother. Her mother, played by Elizabeth Taylor, by the way. And they do keep that. But Fred and Mrs. Slag Hoople, they don't get along, and it's a little funny. There's also Dino, who at some points is CG, at some points is practical. He's fine. But eventually Wilma and Betty reconcile, and they go to steal the Dictabird, voiced by Harvey Korman, who's also in the prequel but plays a different character. Although I don't count it as a prequel, I count it as a separate adaptation because it used different actors. And it doesn't match what Fred says how he met Wilma. He says he met her at a restaurant. In that film, they're at a drive-in thing, which is not really a restaurant. I don't know. I'll have to watch it again. But yeah. So they get the Dictabird, which is one of those things that repeats everything you say. And because he has the proof that basically Fred was innocent. And it was all Cliff. And it's at this point that Miss Stone realizes that Cliff is going to take off without her. So she sort of turns on him at some point, too. But the Dictabird, they take the Wilma and Betty take the Dictabird to where the other employees have Fred and now Barney because he showed up selling snow cones. How do they make ice? How do they have a refrigerator? When you start questioning the logic of the Flintstones, you know you lost your mind. But anyway, he's selling snow cones, and I like the joke that people keep asking, you have loving, you have this, go ahead, check in the back. But they're about to hang them when Betty and Wilma show up with the Dictabird, and Dictabird tells them everything. They send him down, and he tells the whole story. It's kind of funny. Yeah, but Cliff is onto them, so Cliff kidnaps the kids and ties up Mrs. Slag Hoople and Dino. And I do love that Fred goes after Dino first and just steps over her. It's kind of funny. Yeah, so it's a showdown at the quarry where Fred takes on Cliff and Barney tries to rescue the kids. Yeah, send Barney Rubble to rescue the kids, although he is technically the smartest of the two. But it doesn't work out because he gets there and there is a little bit of a plot line where he's trying to get him to say Dada, and here he goes, hi, Dada. You call me Dada. And he gets knocked in the head because of course. And, yeah, so But Fred doesn't save the day. Who saves the day? Miss Stone, who knocks Cliff upside the head as he's about to shoot to Dick the Bird. He goes, she's like, "Do you need anything else, Mr. Flintstone?" "No, you can take the rest of the day off." And yeah. And then he's about to get him again, but Barney has messed with the machine and it dumps a substance which is later called concrete, which I don't think concrete was made in the Stone Age. But yeah, and it turns him into a statue. He's dead. Yeah. Mr. Slate shows up. But Mr. Slate, who's the actor that plays Mr. Slate? Does it say? Probably not. I've seen him before. I don't know where. It's not Carl Reiner, no. I know, I'll look it up and I'll be like, son of a bitch, I knew it was him. I feel like I should know the actor, but he shows up and he says, "What happened to Cliff? I love it. I'm going to name it after my daughter, Concretia." And so he says, "Flintstone, you're going to be head of the new concrete division," but he declines. And then they walk off. We have the ending, because it begins with them going to the movies, it's them going back home, and the whole cat thing. So before I talk about the cast, let's talk about the puns. Beginning, it says it's presented to us by Steven Spielberg. A Universal picture. Sharon Stone. The joke that even the nostalgia critic said, "Ow, ow, joke hurting me, ow." The kids are playing at a park called Jurassic Park. And that's impressive. This movie came out a year after Jurassic Park. And the thing is, it's Universal, so they had the rights. Did Steven Spielberg really produce this? I don't see it anywhere. Amblin Entertainment. It says Amblin, but it doesn't really say his name anywhere. Steven De Souza. Didn't he direct Street Fighter? Kathleen Kennedy. David Kirshner. He produced the Child's Play. Dean Cundy. That's why the director. That's why the cinematography was good. Dean Cundy. I don't see. Oh, it is Amblin, so he had to have something to do with it, right? But yeah, what other puns that I find? I don't remember much else. But yeah, the casting. So, John Goodman as Fred, I think, was perfect casting. I think he was great. He invited everything that was Fred Flintstone, and on the same side as that, you have Rick Moranis as Barney Rubble, and he did a good job. The only other actor that did a better job was Stephen Baldwin in the next one, and we'll get to that. Mark Addy wasn't bad either. Elizabeth Perkins, who I know from Big, also pretty good as Wilma. And the kids were fine, and even Elizabeth Taylor was okay, and whoever the actor was that played Slate was great. And then you got Holly Berry and Kyle McLaughlin, they were good as well. But Rosie O'Donnell as Betty. I never thought this was a good casting. She always, it's she got the laugh down, and it turns out the only reason why she got the job is because she could do the laugh. I'm serious. Look it up. That's the only reason she got the job is because she could do the laugh. Jane Krakowski did a better job in the sequel, prequel, other adaptation, whatever you want to call it. Viva Rock Vegas. And I will say, compared to that movie, this movie's pretty good. Overall, I enjoy it, but like I said, the plot's a little messy. Yeah. Hold on. I don't know if something might throw her. But I'm still going to say, though, when it comes to the Flintstones, I would say it's pretty good. All right. So, what are your thoughts on the Flintstones? I'm going to comment below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Now, I did mention in the other short video that I was going to change the order. Because I have Miami Vice and A-Team next, and Baywatch towards the end. I don't know. It's Miami Vice, man. I've never liked this movie. I tried to watch it twice and couldn't get into it. But I'm gonna have to, because that's the one that's next. I'm gonna have to buck up and watch. I don't know if I'll put it on tonight because I'll probably fall asleep. I'll put it on tonight, but I'll try to find a way because I gotta get these done for the end of the week, and I got 4 movies left yet, so I really gotta start bumming out these recordings to finish it up. But yeah, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.